couldn't move. It was like she was in a trance or something.
Or under a spell.
A curse.
Vecna's curse.
Who's Vecna?
An undead creature of great power.
A spellcaster.
A dark wizard.
Stranger danger, talking stranger things together forever. We're loving stranger things. It's Stranger Things Forever. Rewatching season 4 from the start to the finish. It's Stranger Things Forever. Every podcast we do will cover just 10 minutes. Stranger danger everywhere. I hope that you people still care. It's time for me to do it. Let's get to it. Come on, everyone.
Greetings, stranger friends, and welcome back to Stranger Things Forever. I kind of forgot even how I said it. That's how long it's been since I got part 6 of Vecna's Curse out to you. But alas, I'm waiting no more. I'm finally back. It's towards the end of May. And I am going to be jumping into my month-long movie month over at Geek Mentality. So I had to get at least one more episode out to you before that takes over my entire month of June. Folks, I've been working on other projects, other podcasts, and I keep saying I need to get back to Stranger Things. I need to get back to Stranger Danger. Stranger Things needs to get back to us. I did, part 6 of Vecna's Curse. Then I talked about the stage play. And then you didn't hear from me for a little while. I was doing a lot of Andor with Candor, which is my Mandalorian Man Star Wars podcast. I've been working on Fine Movies, Fine Spirits with my friends. And I needed to get back to you before I go on a month-long adventure of watching movies again. I still need to talk about Stranger Things. I need it. I need to talk about Vecna's Curse. I need to get these episodes out and about. And what I'm thinking I'm going to do, what I'm thinking about trying to do, what I might try to do, is just make these shorter. And when I say shorter, it's not like these are long. But the whole point of this was kind of a nonchalant, relaxed way of doing it. And I've taken too many notes too many times. And I tell myself, just watch it and talk about those 10 minutes. And then I don't. And then I take notes. I take copious notes, not as copious. I don't even know. I think I'm using the word copious right. Not as full as, the regular season where we will take, an entire episode and I will spend hours talking about it and going through it step by step, word by word. No. It's been a million years. I feel like since we got that. Back then, my kids were still in grade school. Wait, I don't have kids. Back then, my niece was still in grade school. Now she's in high school. And the other day she texted me something. She said that, is it on the 31st? There's the next Netflix. Ta-dum! And there was a rumor that we might be getting a Stranger Things trailer that day. I want something. I want an announcement of something that day. Because what I remember last time is we got this long countdown. And it became like a live stream. It became this whole kind of community experience where everyone got to watch it at the same time. And then, of course, immediately people posted their reactions. I did one of my own, just audio. I wonder if this year I would do video. But I wonder if they would just spring a trailer on us like that without, any warning. And if they do, great. we need to get this show on the road. We need to get Stranger Things 5 into our lives. But in the meantime, as long as it is between episodes, Stranger Danger is still here to talk about Stranger Things, talk about Stranger Things comics, to talk about Stranger Things the play, to talk about Stranger Things 4. And today I am discussing minutes 60 to 70 of Vecna's curse. And my first line that I wrote down in my notes is, this felt like a super fast 10 minutes of an episode, because we really only had like three main moments, three main settings. We're back at the roller rink, then we're with some of the gang over at Reefer Rick's, what a place, and then we are at the trailer park, where not that trailer park so far, not a lot of great things happening there, I must say. But we start with the roller rink, right where we left off. 11 asked Angela, apologize, say you were just joking, apologize to my boyfriend. And that bee, Angela, that bee, she's like mocking her. Oh, you're going to use your claw or whatever she said, your hand, your fist, or last time you cried to the teacher, you're going to cry to your dad. Oh wait, you can't. Really, Angela? Like, can you be any more of a jerk than that? And Angela walks away, and 11, it's like you could almost see the fire in her eyes, the rage. And she seems to be, this seems to be showing us that she does have a bit of an issue with anger and rage, where I wrote down, heroically takes a roller skate from some dweeb and smashes Angela's face with it. I don't know. Did that girl really deserve that? Like, she deserves comeuppance, and I love when a bully gets comeuppance, but I don't think she deserved her face to be smashed. And it was at that moment that, like, you think, oh, here's the hero getting her revenge, getting back at the bully. But that's not how it looked. That's not how it came off. That's not how people saw it. Like, you saw this crying little girl, her face smashed in, blood, she's freaking out. And all these people are just standing around looking at 11 like 11 some sort of monster. And of course, 11 feels like a monster. Mike says, what did you do? What did you do? And she gets a flashback of Brenner. It's like, what have you done with all those, dead kids in the lab? And it's just like, you can see she's thinking, oh God, I am not safe. I am I think she just thinks, as low as she can think of herself, she's thinking that at this moment. I'm trying to fight off yawns. If you've noticed, like, my tone changes at certain points, I'm fighting off yawning. Not that it's terribly late, but for some reason, when I podcast at night, it becomes a yawn fest. Like, if I was in concert, my name would be Yanni. If I was an actor, I'd be Jan. I would say Jan. I was going to say Jan Michael Murray, but that's Jan Michael Murray. That doesn't work. Anyway, I'm fighting off yawns. I apologize. On video, you might know. Oh, here comes one. You see, I kind of talk like Patrick Starfish when I get a little bit of a yawn, and then I fight through it, and I come out on the other end as cool as ever. So that's it. We don't, that's the last. We are in California. We leave California and we jump over to Hawkins, but we go right to Reefer Rick's for the first time. For the first time, because remember, Max, Dustin, Robin, and Steve used the video membership database to figure out where the possible Reefer Rick lives. They go there. They start looking and knocking on doors, looking in the window. There's a funny moment where one of the kids, I don't know if it's Steve's, like, is that a foot? And Dustin's like, no, it's just a shoe. Or one of them says it, the other one says just a shoe because they're looking. Meanwhile, while they're looking in the window trying to find something, there's the yawn. Max goes around and sees the boathouse. She's like, guys, and leads them into the boathouse. And they see these food wrappers. Steve starts just poking around with the oar, and Dustin's like, what are you doing? What? That's not going to work. Except it does. Steve Harrington, right again. Eddie jumps up and grabs he has a broken beer bottle, puts it right to Steve's throat. Thankfully, Dustin's there to talk him down. They're like, we just want to know what happened. And he's like, you wouldn't believe me. And I think it was Max that says, try us. And think about it. If anybody in the entire world would believe such a story, such a thing that happened to Eddie, it would be this crew. We jump back then to the other side of Hawkins, back to the trailer park, where Nancy can't find Fred. And she's a bit harsh, though, when she asks a guy, she's like, hey, have you seen a young guy, real nerdy glasses, a big scar on his face? Have you seen a complete loser, goes by the name Fred? He might have kind of a punchable face. Have you seen him? I was just like, geez, Nancy, it's a little bit rough here, right? But she sees the young cop. He's like, what are you still doing here? She's like, I can't find my friend. He's like, God, son of a bee. And he starts making a call because there might be a situation. There's a situation. We see Freddy Boy. He's still running through the woods. He actually breaks through the other side of the woods to a street with a burning car. And it's a burning car that you have to believe, or we have to realize at this point, he's the only one who can see this, right? Like, this is not real, except for Fred. It's very real because it's something that's happened to him in the past. It's a memory. And we jump back to the boathouse, and this is where we get a cool kind of juxtaposition between the boathouse and what's happening to Fred. And I remember we were seeing inside Chrissy's head what was going on there before, the how you say the shit hit the fan. So we're seeing it again with Fred. It's only the second episode, but we're like, uh-oh, this doesn't look good for old Freddy Boy. We get Eddie talking to them, giving the full explanation of things. He's like, you think I'm crazy. And they're like, no, not at all. And then this, to me, is where Eddie gets fully inducted into the group. He's already in the Hellfire Club, but this is when he is in the Stranger Friends, for lack of a copyrighted, infringement on the part of you guys, the Stranger Friends that are watching and listening to this right now. Because Dustin explains everything, explains about the Upside Downs, explains to him about monsters. And while we're getting this, while we're hearing this, we're seeing, them in the boathouse. At the same time, we're seeing Fred, who's now seeing a young man crawling out of a burning car, begging for help. Fred falls back, and all of a sudden, he's in a hole. Not just any hole. The worst hole you could possibly be in. Not a black hole. I guess I was going to come up with a second hole, but I couldn't come up with a reference that quick. Not a hole dug by Stanley Yilnats. Did I get that right? I think I did. But a grave. A grave. Fred is in grave danger, you might say. I'll wait while you guys laugh. We good? Okay. So he falls into this grave. He jumps up when he sees this old corpse, grabs his glasses, and back in the boathouse, Dustin talks about monsters and how they've been back before. And that's why they needed to hear what was going on, because they're afraid they could be back again. And if they are back again, they need to know. And guess what? Guys, they're back. Or at least a monster is back. We don't know much about him yet. But that monster man in the background, He's like, Fred. And Fred's like, what? No, no, my name's not Fred. My name's Jim. I don't know who you're talking to. Sorry, no Fred here. Gotta go. Oh, I hear my mother calling. I'm late for dinner. Fred's freaking out because he hears Fred. He's trying to pull himself out of this hole, out of this grave. It's not happening. And back in the boathouse, Robin says, that night, did you see anything? Max is like, dark particles. Did you hear that buzzer? That's because we finished. We caught up to minute 70, but I'm calling official overtime because we only have a couple minutes left in Vecna's Curse. There's no reason for me to do another whole episode on 2.5 minutes worth of content. Let's get right into it. Robin said, is there anything else you noticed? Max said, is there any dark particles? And he's like, no, nothing. He shakes his head. And Dustin's like, like dust, like swirling dust. He's like, no, there was nothing. He said, there was nothing you could see or touch. And now the Monster Man is with Fred. And Fred's like, what do you want? And he says, I want you to order Girl Scout cookies. No, he's like, that sounds more like Cookie Monster. Or actually, did you ever see Inspector Gadget? I'll get you next time, Gadget. Was his name Dr. Claw? Dr. Claw? Is that his name? So I think so. But he's like, I want you to join me. And he puts his hand up onto Fred, just like we saw him do with Chrissy. And it's like, uh-oh, crap. Fred is still on the street. Oh, good. He's off the street now. Oh, wait. He's 10 feet off the street, floating in the air. And what is happening to Fred is the exact same thing that happened to Chrissy. And Eddie is explaining what happened to Chrissy while we're seeing it happen to Fred. I thought that was really well done. And she's like, you can't get to her. It's like she was in a curse. And Dustin's like, or under a spell. A curse. Oh, wait, I said she was under a trance. And then he's like, a spell. Dustin said a spell or a curse. Vecna's curse. And Steve's like, who's Vecna? And Dustin's like, an undead creature of great power, a spellcaster, a dark wizard. Now, look, the kids are just guessing here, but Dustin guessed about the mind flayer. He guessed about the Demogorgon. He was right every time. So, whatever this is, he's giving it the name of Vecna to kind of personalize it and give them an idea of what they might be up against. He happens to be very right. And now we get, of course, Fred floats up in the air. Snap, crackle, pop. I mean, he just his face caves in, his body caves in. He lands on the road. Like, have you ever taken a jacket and just dropped a jacket on the ground and just thump? That's what Fred is now. Fred is a human jacket. It was like nothing. I don't know if there was a bone left. He just was just a wet sack of Fred. I feel bad saying it that way, but he just landed bad. And that was Fred in the real world. Fred was caught in between the upside down, in the dream, in the real world where his body was. But everything he was seeing with the car and the grave, that was him just standing there kind of stuck in this dream world. Vecna visited him in the dream world. Then we see the physical manifestation of Vecna. Now, he's not in our reality. He's in the upside down. He's hooked up to all these, tubes, vines, the vines, maybe tentacles. We don't know what they are exactly yet. But he uses them to, connect to things. Maybe that's how he connects to the dream world. And then when he's done with that, he kind of disconnects and just relaxes in his house, his beautiful house in the upside down, surrounded by flying monsters. And that is how Vecna's curse ends. The actual end of the episode. We did it. Vecna's Curse in 7 parts. Isn't that like that sounds like a classical music. Today I shall be performing Vecna's Curse in 7 parts. But that's it. I would say we nailed it because it took me forever, but we did it. You, me, the stranger friends, we did it. Now look, my movie month starts on Sunday, and I'm going to give you a sneak preview. I'm announcing it, even though I pretty much have made it pretty clear on Blue Sky what I'll be watching. On Sunday, I'm going to see the brand new Mission Impossible movie. That is movie 1 of Movie Month 2025. I already have my ticket in the IMAX screen of my local theater. Now, this theater over the winter had a bit of a rat issue, but I was walking by and they definitely had those steam cleaners out. So I haven't been in this theater in years. I haven't been since before COVID. Once I started going back to the movie theater, I started going to this newer one the next town over. But they don't have Mission Impossible on the big screen, like on their version of, it's called like DX or XD or something, Cinemark. They don't have it that day. And I want to see it on a biggest screen as possible. So I'm going back to the local AMC, and hopefully it's not like some sort of Ratatouille situation. Hopefully it's just me, Tom Cruise, and it's a 10 a.m. movie, so they can't be that crowded. So I'm looking forward to that. But I had to get to you, the stranger friends, before I was knee deep in movies. I had to get this over with. And I have to be honest with you, I was fully prepared to be like, oh, this is the end. There's still 8 minutes left. And I realized, wait a minute, a lot of this is credits. When does the episode actually end? It was only a few minutes left. So I'm like, pull an audible, pull overtime. Let's get this done. We did it. So I mentioned earlier in this episode how 11 might think of herself as a monster. And that leads perfectly into the next chapter of Stranger Things Forever, as next time we will be starting chapter 3 of Stranger Things 4, The Monster and the Superhero. But that is next time. Until then, I wanted to take a quick moment because I appreciate everyone who listens to the show. And I hear from some of you. I hear from some of you through voicemail. I hear from some of you through Instagram or through episode comments. And I love the fact that I wouldn't like almost like a little community of regulars who reach out or who contact. I haven't been very good at this, so it's been pretty quiet for a long while. But there's one guy who, over the years, I think he's left voicemails. I know he's left comments, and I know he might have even emailed before. And we became friends on Instagram, on my actual Instagram account. And I was scrolling through Instagram the other day, and I saw, I was like shocked, but I saw his obituary, and it was a weird, because I like, we don't really know each other, it's just a relationship or a connection through podcasting, through Stranger Things, through this show that, became, just a, whatever an online acquaintance, is, where you say hi, you like pictures here and there. And he was a young guy, like around my age. I joke about being old, but we're still, I don't want to say we're not prime, but we're, when you see someone of this age who passes away, that feels young. And, this guy seemed like a really nice guy. And I've mentioned him on the show before, Todd Rogers. We don't really know him. I just, had whatever the podcast listener, fans of the same show, whatever you call it, every interaction I had with him was positive, was nice, and he was a family man. And just seeing that, I don't know anything about the situation. I just know that I wanted to take a few moments to mention him, only because he, was, a participant who would, send in stuff and talk to me. And I appreciate every single one of you people who listen. And I really didn't prepare much, except I knew I wanted to say something. So if this comes off a little, scattery, I don't even know if that's a word, like I'm all over the place, it's because I just wanted to say something and I just started talking. And well, here we are. So just rest in peace, Todd. And, I'm very sorry. My thoughts go out to your family. And, I don't know if like his son ever listened or if anyone else in his family ever listened, but I just wanted to mention it. And yeah, just everyone else be good. That's really it. And if you ever want to reach out to me, you can find me pretty much anywhere on social as Geek Mentality, except TikTok, which is Geek Mentality. Mike, it feels weird turning right back to the social media stuff after that. But I wanted to say it, and I'm glad I did. So Geek Mentality Mike on TikTok, Geek Mentality everywhere else. Of course, Fans Not Experts on Facebook, Fans Not Experts on YouTube, and the website for everything I do is on fansnotexperts.com. But of course, you can get to this podcast directly at strangerdangerpodcast.com. That's it. I am done. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for subscribing, for watching, for still finding the show. I really, really do appreciate it. And that's it. I will talk to you soon. But until then, remember, it's people like you, it's people like me, people like, fans and listeners and TV viewers like Todd. We're the ones, the stranger friends, who help keep Stranger Things alive forever.
Fans Not Experts.